about empty, but at this point, I'd probably suggest completely draining it and maybe cleaning the sludge out of here.
Yeah.
And kind of let it dry a little bit, but then you're going to want to turn it off and fill it back up with fuel.
How high should it be?
Well, see, right there is the overflow, so.
Oh, okay. Should be up to there.
And that's the overflow you were telling me that goes in a 5-gallon bucket just
Yeah,
in case it overflows?
Yeah, because the way this
Have a mess.
yeah, if you don't drain it away quick enough.
Oh, if it doesn't return to the tank fast enough?
Yes.
Okay, so that's just an emergency.
Well, no. What this thing does over here, the middle line over here, I guess if you want to come around and start over here, I guess, maybe. This is your fuel intake. And actually the piston pump is right here for it, but now this is the fuel filter, which you have a couple gaskets out there. The piston pump here, the valve for the piston pump is here, or here. The piston pump's right under this. The valve for
So it's like a lift pump,
yeah,
you mean?
Yeah, it's a piston pump it goes up and down under here. But the discharge is here. All right. It comes over and dumps it in there. If you didn't have an external filter, which this was one of the many options they had, a little drop-in screen would go here, but you'd have to pull that off to change the screen. And then when it's pumping, it's continuously pumping, filling this, overflowing the overflow, and going back to tank. And that's why I'm saying if you don't have enough drop for this application, you will probably won't return fast enough, and it'll probably just overflow and run out.
Putting a tank down in the pit is our best option.
Probably your best option.
And we have some nice narrow tanks on the back
Yeah.
of bulldozers, so we don't need any
And
more.
based on what you're telling me you're running, I don't see where you'd want to really need anything bigger than 20 gallon if you want that much.
Yep.
Or you could I have one engine I run on just hose. I turn hose and I use clear hose just so I could see, and I drop both of them in the bucket and it works fine.
So if we had
And this is the return there?
Yeah, that's
it
return.
won't
We're screwed.
return because it's there's not
It's
a
too,
pump
and
to
it's too
return.
far for it to return.
Yeah, if you're going over there, the book has specs of what size return line you should have back to the tank, and they recommend a separate return line for each engine.
Right,
They
but-
recommend a separate suction line too, although you can use just one suction line.
So this is a return line here.
Yes.
The crooked ones are returned.
So while it's running, it's going to be continuously pumping up and returning.
I see.
And then the pump uses whatever it wants out of the reservoir.
Yeah. See, the pumps draw in underneath.
Yep.
That's why I'm saying at this point, with as low it is, you might want to swab out the bottom. Just
Yep.
get what dirt out there you can. Maybe pour some kerosene in and flush it out. But then when you're done, before you let it set for the winter or too long,
Fill it back up.
put diesel fuel back in there, because they'll keep the parts from the pump from rusting.
Anything to know about the injectors and how they work or how to set them or anything like that?
You don't set the injectors unless you really want to get into something. This is the spring on it. The only thing we might have to do when we go to start up is I might have to get in there to the valve. The valve is directly underneath these, the intake valve, or the
Like a delivery valve?
the final valve, your pressure side valve is
Yeah.
right here. Sometimes if you get airlocked, you have to break it here to get it.
And these springs adjust the injection pressure?
Well, this is more of a capping thing. I think these are reliefs. If it pumps too much.
Okay.
That's why I say generally you don't want to mess with these unless you got into where somebody had gone in behind somebody that didn't know what they were doing and you're trying to figure out where it should be again.
How do they operate? There's a cam in there or something? I think I saw?
Yes. And this particular engine is difficult to open that up and show you the governor, and we could probably try it. Your stop and run control, but pretty much simple. And prime if probably won't be using the prime too much.
You seem to have trouble pulling that back into the prime mode, is that?
No, that was a good thing.
Okay.
It means the injectors were pretty tight.
Okay.
So what does pulling it into prime do?
You're actually manually forcing.
You're operating the injectors?
pumps if you're,
Okay.
so at least one of them was pumping.
Or still.
So if you wanted to
still
pump-
has diesel in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you needed to bleed the lines, you would you'd crack the lines, and then
And,
pull it to
timing
prime.
becomes part of it too.
timing.
If you're not ready to deliver the diesel, you won't be there. As far as the injection pumps go, you'll see two valves in there. Well, this one's going to be a little more complicated.
Yeah.
We'll start with that big one right there at the back. That's your main fuel pump. No, all the way at the back. The big
That cylinder?
That cylinder coming up, it's pushing up, and that's your main fuel pump that's drawing your main fuel up.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, as far as the four-cylinder, I don't remember exactly. If it was a two-cylinder, this is probably cylinder one. I think this would be cylinder two. This will be cylinder three.
Yeah, it's marked up
And
here.
this one 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
That was marked. Usually I don't see. They're not. Maybe somebody came along.
Someone
there.
prick punched.
They're punch marked up there. Yeah.
Somebody probably, being this was running, they probably did that. But, all right, now the back ones, as far as all of them, they all work the same. The back one is your charge pump.
You're talking about the big
one
spring here?
Yes.
Okay.
That's your actual fuel pump that delivers your fuel.
Okay.
It is timed, it delivers a full shot every time, whether you need it or not.
Okay.
It's a full stroke pump
Uh-huh.
for the full shot you will ever need on all 4.
So fixed displacement.
Yes.
Right.
Now the front one here, that's your timing valve.
Okay.
So when the cylinder's ready for it, that valve drops out. In this case, they close the valve. That'll let it, and that builds up pressure. When it's open, it's blowing back into the tank.
Okay. So the longer the valve's open, the lower RPM, the less fuel it'll deliver, and the lower speed it'll run.
No. Or the longer it closes to deliver the shot.
Right. Yeah. So the longer it's open, the more fuel it releases.
No, when it's open, you're not putting any injection into
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The longer it's, when it comes down, the longer it stays closed, the more it's putting up.
Right. Yep.
That's the same principle as like the cats and all that stuff.
But,
Yep.
You
but
know,
as
It's
far
just that little, yeah.
yeah, similar. That's a pretty common one.
and the other little wrinkle in this is right there at the back. That is your air timing
What that
cam piston.
little rod?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's got a time when it injects air.
Yes.
It's only doing it in a cylinder one.
No, you're doing it in 2 cylinders on a 4-cylinder.
I do see two
There's
pipes,
2
and that's
lines.
why I
One.
Oh, weird. They assume there's only one.
Those
These
2
are-
pipes there are the air delivery, right?
That's the air delivery to the cylinder. I think
because it comes off of that lever over
I don't
there.
know if it goes to. I think it goes to 3,
1 and 3 or something.
or maybe it's 2.
Then my sign is wrong over there.
Uh-oh.
I very
Typo.
carefully made this sign according to what the book said.
Well, follow that line and that'll tell you.
So it's 1 and 3 that's going to. Okay.
So that's what that little back one had to do. And you got 2 at the back. You got on this end. You got 2.
Oh yeah. So those are the 2 cylinders that get
Those
air.
are the 2 timing for the air.
So in that case, it's cylinder 1 and 3.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
owned by those
That's what the
injectors.
piping
You
is
can't.
going to.
Yeah.
Now, does that hold the fuel off while it's doing that to 1 and 3?
No.
No, it just fires it
That's
anyway.
it's totally separate. They will function pretty much all the time.
Yep. Okay.
Unlike the Atlas where it holds the fuel off
on that one cylinder?
No, well, Atlas does it on all 4 cylinders, so you just pull
See-
the fuel rack back and it's getting no fuel until you're ready to spun it up and then give it a go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it only has a little bit of spinning on its own to fire off once you
Yeah.
engage the fuel.
No, this one looks a lot better than the one I got, but I still see some rust in there.
What should we do to,
You could probably clean it. I would recommend getting some Gibbs and just spraying it through there from time to time.
what's Gibbs?
It's a penetrating oil. They advertise it a lot in Gas Magazine. It's a little more expensive than what most people would buy, but it's what I use, and it does a good job. It tends to, it has a rust converter in it. That will
So it kind of neutralizes the rust a little bit.
Should we put any oil in there? Or no?
no,
It'll just
anything
drain
in
right.
here-
It'll just drain right out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to. You might build up a little bit in there until it drains out. But anything in here, this is designed to catch any fuel leaks from up top. It come in
that
here,
little trough.
and it also comes and goes out in this drain.
Okay. So it doesn't thin the oil out. Right?
Yeah, because they don't want the fuel getting down into the oil.
Yep.
So this was like a second level, but it gave you a convenient place to adjust your.
So they don't need much lubricant there then overall.
Yeah, the fuel is providing pretty much enough lubricant. The only exception is like on the back, maybe the air cams, but usually if you're dripping enough, it's picked up.
Should we put any like some type of fuel additive to it?
It's not drain oil.
I would.
We'll get a bucket for that.
What's this rack here do with the little forks? Is that the prime?
Now, yeah, now we'll see what. All right.
Okay.
See, when you pull back in the prime,
At this level, it was down.
I'm physically
Okay.
lifting up on all the pumps.
Yep, I can see that.
And depending on where their position is,
Oh, so
Maybe that-
should we sit there and go like back and forth like 10, 20 times to prime it? Is that what you want to do?
if you know what you're doing, let's just say no for that.
Well, once the lines are...
Otherwise, remember, one of the cylinders, if it's going to take a fuel, you'll be pumping it in there.
And then you pump too much
And
fuel.
if you
in
put
one
too much
cylinder.
fuel in there, that can cause other startup issues.
And
Yep.
you do have there's got to be a pressure relief up there on them.
Yeah, there is, and a return line. But now, of course,
So
now
that shuts it off by opening
this
the
way, when you go
valves.
this way, it actually lifts up all the valves. That cylinder, number one, must be in position, or out of position right now.
Why do you say that?
Because, see, it's already being held open.
Unless it's stuck open.
Well, it's either being held open or partially open at the position it's in.
Yeah.
Because when they go that way, all the 3 others lift up, but that one's almost already lifted. And that's your stop position.
Yep.
That's what that, it's just lifting the valves off and holding them all.
Sure, no fuel.
And of course, that way physically pushes the pumping side.
Should we take this off and look in there for any reason or no?
You can if you want.
Well, is it for
All you'll see in there is basically that's the governor section, and at 2 positions you're going to have a bolt you can get to with a wrench, but this is a little different. You don't necessarily need to do that.
Okay.
There is a way to do it, because now that with this mechanism on it, this has the generator synchronizer on it to get your speed right.
Yep.
So, general engines, that's all you'll have. Because you said you can't adjust that while the engine's running. You just pretty much turn it 1 or 2 notches, try it, and see if you got the speed
Right, because it's spinning, obviously.
Right. Now you've got a mechanism that now goes in and physically pushes and pulls on that.
It pushes and pulls on the spring, the same as any governor would do to change the speed.
Yep.
Yeah, now that feels a little tight. Mine did too till I cleaned it.
So as you're turning that, is that adjusting the RPM?
What you might want to do is pull this end cap off.
Yeah.
That's a simple gasket. What you probably get is water and oil out of here. This is a little chamber itself.
Yep.
All right, so you probably expect to get oil when you break that gasket. There's no drain plug in it. And you'll find a big brass gear in there that's in part of the mechanism that's worn in pushing.
Yep.
And there's a slip arrangement and whatever like that.
Yep, it's gotta have a spring behind it, one spot or another there to make that all work.
Does this spin when the engine's
Yes.
running?
No.
No.
This is your adjustment to change the engine speed.
Okay.
Now you have a
So as you-
a
yeah.
dial there.
So this little needle should move as you spin that, right?
Yeah.
Right here?
Faster
And
or
it's very slow, because this is a very fine adjustment. You'll find that out.
Yep.
Because you gotta realize, this is a worm gear up here, and this is a big brass gear.
Yep.
So it takes a lot of spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
got pretty finite adjustment, and then the electric motor went out here, the synchronizer motor.
Yep.
So that you could time it to
Yeah.
the alternator and get the right
Oh, that's pretty
voltage.
neat. I didn't know.
I'm assuming it's working on voltage.
Yeah. Well, it's to get you right RPM, so when you sync, there's no.
So when it calls for a load, it all
When
It
you
resets
sync to the grid or sync to another generator, technically you don't want any load there. You can do it under certain, depending on the setup. But this was designed to synchronize at no load. Then you bring it up to load. Then you could drop the other generator off, and there would be no apparent. Anyone outside that building would not know you actually switched generators if you did your job correctly.
So we won't need that synchronizer motor though.
No.
We'll just use that hand wheel.
You can use the hand wheel.
That deal.
Looks like that one's turned up a good bit. Maybe when you clean it, you might want to bring it down to the slow position just for startup. But
Yep.
Yeah,
it'll take a good bit of turning because this is a pretty fine adjustment on this. It was made to just, because it was actually made for a regular motor.
oh, okay, so
So do we have any idea where it actually is right now?
there's an indicator on this
Oh,
side.
the dial there?
Yeah, fast,
Oh,
slow,
wow.
over here.
How about this now?
All right.
What is that?
That's the bolt that holds the two case.
Oh, okay, that's nothing.
You can probably take this plate off and see some things, but other than that,